2017, author Soraya Murray published On Video Games, The Visual Politics of Race, Gender, and Space, and stated, quote, "As games representations grow ever more complex, the demand for intersectionality remains more important than ever," end quote. This introduction to Murray's book included a discussion on Assassin's Creed III Liberation, whose protagonist is a female African-American freedom fighter. However, today we are looking at the military-based first-person shooter game Rainbow Six Siege and how it tackles representation across all fronts. Coincidentally, both Assassin's Creed and Rainbow Six were published by Ubisoft, proving that the developers know a thing or two about diversity and representation. Intersectionality is the acknowledgement that everyone has their own unique experiences of discrimination and oppression. So how does Rainbow Six Siege help in giving these discriminated people representation in their game? Let's start with the representation of women. An article from Stephanie Drenka revealed that in 2012, the Entertainment Software Association, or ESA, determined that 47% of gamers were women, but only 15% of playable characters in games were female. On top of there being 28 playable female characters out of 65, each one is given an expansive lore, creating a deep sense of characterization, making each woman unique, well-rounded, and complex. Their backgrounds provide players with a person to relate with, thus creating more enjoyment of the game for those who enjoy the lore. An example of a story players could sympathize with is the lore behind the only siblings in the game, Ella and Zofia. These sisters share the pain of a military father who pushed them to excel at everything. However, they both reacted differently to his methods. Zofia, the older sister, complied with her father and pushed herself to excel at everything, whereas Ella, the younger sister, rebelled and became the problem child. This caused a rift between them, and the family drama continued even after their father's death. The pair came out as two entirely different women, proving that Ubisoft writers truly take care and time into their characters' unique personalities for the player's enjoyment. Rainbow Six not only offers female soldiers to play as, but the developers have also created this extensive lore for each individual, creating a sense of empowerment in relation for those who play them. Every single operator has a unique ability that they can call their own, but when it comes to weapon mechanics, techniques, or speed, both male and female characters have their strengths and weaknesses in everything. Up next, we look at the diverse cultures represented in the game. The title of the game itself points to the diversity in this fictional battleground, as the rainbow in Rainbow Six Siege comes from the different colors of the flags from the different countries the operators hail from. When Rainbow Six was first released in 2015, there were only 8 playable characters gamers could choose from. However, 4 of these 8 were operators that weren't your typical white male characters you would see in 85% of other games. Instead, we were given 2 operators from Brazil and 2 from Japan. Right from the start of release, Rainbow Six had the diversity people wanted to see. With multiple cultures represented in just the first year, this only continued to grow as the game continued to advance, now having characters from Iran, Liberia, Ireland, Australia, Morocco, and many more. A fan even commented on the release of a Russian operator, quote, "It's so cool that there is a character of your nationality in the game, even if it doesn't affect anything," end quote. Right there is a positive outcome of having these different countries represented in the game and just giving players a little bit more serotonin when they realize it. They appreciate being noticed even just a little bit. Turning our attention to a topic that is yet to gain enough attention in the gaming world, Rainbow Six arguably has its share of representation of disabilities. The most notable one is the operator named Jaeger, who has been theorized to have high-functioning autism. He is an insanely skilled engineer, but according to his official bio, he lacks social skills and humility, 2 common traits of someone with this level of autism. However, it doesn't impact his level of effectiveness, and he is statistically one of the most played operators in the game. It has never been 100% confirmed by Ubisoft if Jaeger's autism is real or not. Those in the Rainbow Six community put the pieces together and came to their own conclusions, trying to find this representation for themselves. Disabilities like this are hardly ever seen in a positive light in games or movies for that matter. They are more seen as objects of pity, lack complexity, or even made into the villains of the story. Those who suffer from disabilities want to see themselves in the characters they play and love just like everyone else. The gaming community wants representation, fueling the idea that Jaeger is in fact autistic. Finally, Our last piece of representation is sexuality and identity. More specifically, I have focused on 3 offensive operators that represent Rainbow Six's LGBTQ community, starting with Flores, a burglar from Argentina, an expert with robotic explosives, and Rainbow's very first openly gay character. Flores' release took the gaming community by storm, with the character's sexuality providing players who are part of the LGBT community an operator lore they can appreciate. One player even tweeting, "I win." Following Flores, Ubisoft released 2 other playable operators that give representation to this community. Operator Osa, who is a transgender woman, and Operator Sens, who identifies as non-binary. All 3 characters bring their own weapon specialties that players can enjoy, and their genders and sexualities don't affect the gameplay whatsoever. They are all equal. Ubisoft released an article in 2022 with an interview of the creator of these 3 stories, Simon Ducharme, who said, quote, "They represent the simple reality that queer characters have a place in all stories, that it's just a matter of wanting to and taking the appropriate steps," end quote. And that is absolutely what Rainbow Six is not just doing, but achieving. To conclude, since 2015, Rainbow Six Siege, in my opinion, has dominated when it comes to diversity in every part, whether it's gender, sexuality, identity, or disability. The developers and writers of the game know what their players want to see, and that is a character they can smile at when they see something meaningful to them represented on a platform that millions around the world can appreciate as well as themselves.